For tonight's late IHP show, we get to share what the lovely divine feminine gets to see, which is the inner child within every person. So Maria, your 5D mystic, is a divine feminine, and that's because of having my own inner child healed. And so I know how you can be true to who you are, and that when you review those responsibilities, the ability to have your emotions in the forefront, and that's because you have also the mind. So bilateral integration, that is where consciousness and integration of the brain come in. So I'm an integrated brain, and I'm a flexible, adaptive, coherent, and energized and stable. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. Left and right mode. So the right mode is our nonverbal, and the left is the verbal part. Okay, so the masculine is your mind, and when you are a balanced, in fact, divine feminine, you will always look in the eyes of someone else and see the wholeness, because that inner child is the universal truth of every person. So the alchemizing of your emotions. Now, if you're overwhelmed by being in the presence of a securely attached whole 3-year-old heart, that is something that a divine feminine will know. So the truth is, we know, like Pacha tells Cusco, every person has a heart. He tells Cusco that nobody is heartless, and a divine feminine will know that. And here's where, unfortunately, the 4D mystics have forgotten that they're in a human body, and they, in fact, do not see the truth. They see in front of them people, and they call them energy vampires and dark auras, and then they make up stories from the ancient times. They're keeping the ancient stories. We know that universal law, we looked at this, right? So I'm going to read it again in case you didn't look at any of our episodes. And that would be so that you can understand what a divine feminine, a 5D mystic, is all about, which is the inner child in you can be healed thanks to great academics out there who have studied and looked into attachment and trauma, and they let us know that trauma charges come up. The self can be whole, again, even if you will have had a fragmented sense of self with disorganized attachment or dissociative identity disorder. They don't always go hand in hand, but I have some courses and more on attachment trauma again. And dissociative identity disorder is one of the ones that I learned about. So the beauty, the way of the beauty, is if you learn how to work with the left and right mode. And there's plenty of earth keepers, again, divine feminines. We have a connection to the higher council. Why? Because, like Sadhguru shares with us, when you are overflowing with humanity, divinity has to descend. This sphere of consciousness is looked into by our lovely physicists. So we don't need conspiracy theories and, you know, what 4D's doing. So let's look at the crow, and then I'll keep chit-chatting on tonight's late IHP show. So 5D mystic here, enlightenment soul age groups possible because there's no laundry. I have a window welcome to my emotional plane because my left mode is my friend and my right mode is, and I'm a human with a prefrontal cortex. I'm curious, open, accepting, and loving. That's an integrated brain. Restorative embodiment. You can be here too. So when I look at you, I'm not in any trauma charges. That's why I have fun. It's also why, as a divine feminine, I know the truth, which is, like I said, Pacha. As he shares, you have a heart, I have a heart. So when you get into whatever maladaptive child behavior, I know healthy boundaries, which means you're not going to like me because I'm going to say no. And there's ways that a grown-up says no to an inner child that might trigger that which is an emotion, insecurity, or more. So when I meet teenagers, I know they have a 3-year-old, and that child is, let me out, let me out. So if they, instead of, projecting outer critic or inner critic towards me, and they do a Pacha thing, then we're going to resonate and trust, and we're going to dance a tango. Okay, so the crow is the keeper of universal law, the law of truth. The crow teaches us to walk our talk, to find congruence between who we say we are and who we really know ourselves to be. The winged one insists that we speak truth, that we create truth instead of searching for it, and that we bring truth to every situation we find ourselves in. Now, what also we know is true is that perception is subjective, right? Because you have a subjective experience with your past. Your inner child is experienced on your past. And if you don't have a handle on your 0, 1-year-old attached panic, he did a 3-7 shame submissive, and you don't know how to be a grown-up in front of me and talk to me, then your perception will be distorted, and we don't know what kind of story you're making up as you say, I don't like that person. But don't worry, a healthy boundary lady like myself will say nothing except for, let me see if I can recalibrate the situation, because a 5D person puts the personality to the side, because our implicit bias or any of our likes or dislikes, any of it, we'll be like, okay, you can stay here. It's okay. We have the bigger picture, which is there's an inner child in front of us. Let's make sure to nurture. And since today is a day of mothers, right, celebrating mothers, so the mother, the divine feminine, is a nurturer. You can only nurture if you're on all the time. So if you have a restorative embodiment with a securely attached whole 3-year-old heart, which is a differentiated self, which is also known as a somatic empath, which means that I will not be triggered. And when I'm picking up on you, it's because I'm present. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. So I'm curious, open, accepting, and loving. And as I attune to your nervous system, I know exactly what I need to do, which Daniel Siegel reminded me of, to differentiate and remind myself, did I feel like that just a second ago? No, I didn't. Wait, I'm near another human. I'm calibrating because we're mammals. Perception, our natural curiosity, it moves us beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive as real and to take a good, hard, deep look at it. So the reason I'm okay with the woo-woo pseudoscience is because I'm not a flat earther, but I am a mystic. So I also know what a divine feminine is here. We're here to remind people of their beautiful inner child, and if they want, they can become a beautiful star without winning a golden star, by the way. It's called being a decent human being and knowing that we all have either healed trauma and are grown-ups, decent human beings who know how to talk, or unhealed trauma, and we can learn how to speak the truth with what is called functional adult love language, because the adults always know that nobody's responsible to make you happy, because that's your nervous system. That I can calibrate, differentiate, and link and say, oh, look, they're upset. Hey, are you upset? No, okay, cool. And if you project, I don't think so. Magic works through all of us. You get to be yourself, I get to be me. But, you know, your tone, we can work on that. So as a grown-up, healthy boundaries means that you don't have an issue saying no. You also don't cancel people or block them. That's actually immaturity. Sometimes we do choose to disengage from conversations because we don't feel like using our time that way, and that's the part of where we all get to decide who we get to be around, right? So nobody loses people, by the way, on a spirituality awakening journey or Kundalini awakening journey or any of that. That's just a way for those who are on else's journey to keep thinking that their clairs are some magical gift that makes them more special than others. And this is where we know of people who want a herd. So they need to have a herd, right? The culty cults, traditional cults, ethical cults, that's because some people's drivers are the bonding. And so because it makes them different and unique, like teenagers who had groups, right? So some of us, we chose, well, we're all different. So really, aren't we all a group? And here's why, as a human group, we're all like, yay, we get to expand. Oh, and by the way, right now, there's a lot of very interesting energies going around. So as we close on out, the divine feminine nurtures every person's capacity, if they desire, to bring forth their inner child. So we see the inner child, and when projection happens, we know how to handle it like Cusco? No, like Pacha. And like Cusco does, though, at the end, he still plays this part, right? And so a Cusco attitude is really a person who has yet to go and get either good therapy to take a look at their self and say, wait, I want to live a life that is beyond the solo self. And that would be that spirituality and connection, because I'm a human being. So I want to make more friends, not less friends. Okay, so when your inner child comes out to play, because you have a beautiful way of being yourself, because you know no shame, that's the part. So when you know no shame, you know how to say no to things that you're not interested in, because that's where grown-ups are at. We get to understand that we all have different interests, but that we can nurture and support each other and let each other be a part of her, like Sid does, Diego, Sid, Manny, okay? And so yes, when you meet a divine feminine, a 5D mystic, enlightenment soul age group divine feminine, she will see the inner child in you and the infinite higher human conscious potential that you can achieve. But she'll also know that that subjective experience, so you need to have the desire to move into that next step. So intuition is very beautiful because we're present and we're loving and we're curious and we're open to handling whatever comes up with the capacity to talk to each other like functional adults. Tune in for more 5D relationships, being yourself.